A bit louder.
Okay. The question is basically, do they have jurisdiction to approach us? Okay. The answer to that is, if they believe they have a lawful excuse, yes.
Yes.
Okay. No, but what was the sort of pattern that did anybody? What were the patterns that you saw in that? Just that first one with the names.
Backing off. It kind of undermines the basis of why they're asking to name and address.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's this for? So as it escalates, continues on.
Escalation.
It just
Yeah.
devalues the initial claim for why you're asking to be named.
Yeah.
It gives you a real feeling of being equal. It lets them know that you feel equal to them, which puts them in their place really, because they know you will.
Yeah.
Empowerment.
It's easy to get drawn into arguing about things that are irrelevant then.
Now that's a huge thing,
Yeah.
okay, because what they'll do is pull you straight out, oh badge number, that's good enough, and they'll pull you into all sorts of things. So, but basically the main thing is we can start off civil with the conversation and we can escalate it to whatever level that we want, and it's all about disempowering and to pull onto a leveler, and that's the lovely thing with the name. So now in the courts, we're actually asking the judges and the prosecutors for their names, first name and second name. And again, it's trying to level it off and take away this empowerment. The next thing, okay, now I haven't put much on the oath, affirmation and attestation because this one I want to talk you through. The way to escalate that is, we've said already it's about jurisdiction, okay? It's to affirm it's about breaches of the peace and protecting people and property. The way to escalate this one, literally, is you will turn one policeman or police officer against another. All right? You ask them 3 times, are you acting under oath, affirmation, or attestation? If you don't respond, again, I'll ask you, are you acting under oath, affirmation, or attestation? And you ask them a 3rd time. And then you start to turn around to the police. You've seen that they failed to affirm that they're acting under oath, affirmation, or attestation, leading me to believe, and you've witnessed, they're fraudulently impersonating an officer of the law.
Oh, that's
Okay. You've witnessed that they've refused to affirm that they're acting under oath, affirmation, or attestation.
Yes.
And hence are fraudulently misrepresenting an officer of the law. Please arrest them. But that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Who's in power there?
But will they arrest them?
Yeah.
And then you go on to the next one. You've witnessed both of them fraudulently. And you carry on through. And if you've got the witnesses and you've got this on record, correct, then you go to the police station and you report the crime. And that's what we need to start doing.
Will they actually get arrested though?
They should.
You can bring a private criminal prosecution in the absence of them doing their job. Yes, you have the power.
Why is the magic number 3?
Okay, we'll talk about this afternoon. Basically, we need to establish 2 things, the facts and the state of the mind. The first one is the fact, establishing the fact. Okay, what is your name? What is your name, or are you acting under oath, affirmation, or attestation? Doesn't matter. I'm establishing the fact. What I'm doing is, the second time I'm asking, that's witness 1 that I'll put you with the fact, witness 2 that I'll put you with the fact. From the mouths of 2 may the truth be established. And so I've got the witnesses to the facts, plus I've got the state of mind. You've ignored the first one, so you can't say honest mistake. You've ignored the second one, you can't claim negligence. You've ignored the third one, you can't claim gross negligence. So literally, I've set you up with the facts and the guilty in mind. And if I've got my record, that's all the courts look at. I've got the court case to hold you to account for your behaviour. That's what it's all about.
Mark, are these sheets?
This is all in the manual. Okay, Adelia's printed some for us.
We'll email it to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just to show you the repetition. So everything is times 3. It starts off light. Okay. okay, and you simply escalating.
But there's a reason, isn't there, for the 3 mark in the sense that sort of legally,
Yeah,
they can...
legally,
Something about the 3s
Yeah.
where...
legally, you've got 2 witnesses,
Yeah.
and that's what. Oh, by the way, you're all really familiar with all this. Yeah. Does this sound familiar yet to anybody?
Are you ever obligated to give your name and address?
I might be. I don't know. Depends on the circumstance.
Yeah,
But hang on. Okay. What does the council do? They send you a what?
A note.
3 times.
A bill. Council sends you a bill. What is that? A claim. In the olden days, a bill used to mean a claim. So somebody sends you a bill, they're making a claim against you. If you don't respond, what's actually happened? Dishonor. Okay? What is the dishonor about? You believe you have a lawful claim against me, and I have not responded, okay, to settle your claim, and therefore I have breached your peace. You have a lawful belief that you have a right to it. By me dishonoring, I'm breaching your peace. Okay? And that there is what it's about. Dishonor is a breach of the peace. Then what happens next if I don't respond?
Get a reminder.
We get a reminder, okay? So we've got the facts established, there's a bill, there's a claim, we've got a reminder. Okay, witness 1. Again, if we don't respond, we get the second reminder. Okay, now we get taken to court. Okay? So exactly what doing is literally holding the mirror up, using what they use against us, and it works. It's brilliant. We got, Calvin and I, we put in a £40,000 claim against Cambridge courts, and we got it.
And how?
We just put in a claim using their system to verify it. The reason is a lot of people.
What's the claim for against the council taxes on it?
No, that's just because of removing Calvin's liberties and freedoms.
Say that again?
Removing Calvin's liberties and freedoms
Right.
because he's a wanted man.
Right.
So we tested it, okay? Because people are spending a lot of time on what are called liens. People have heard of liens on liens.
No. What are these?
Basically, it's apparently a common law remedy where maybe or maybe not you can get some money or that if you can get it collateralized. But what we've done is just very simply, on the concept of the 3 notices, put in a claim, wasn't rebutted, we got a default judgment, and we could call the High Court enforcers in, and it only costs 8% to get it enforced. So if you've got a lawful claim against somebody, don't waste your time making a lien, which you can't collateralize anyway. Just flip them off, put it in their system, which they use against you, the money court claim. Why? Because society must settle dispute. If we can't settle dispute, we're going to be fighting. No peace. Okay, so I can't remember how I got onto that, but what I want to do then...
Because you were explaining about the second one.
The oath, affirmation and attestation, yeah. Okay, so with that there, literally, you can turn the police one against the other, and you go to the police station and you record. Now, earlier we were saying, I think over there when I was talking to you, that it's so important to create a record. We need to start standing up for one another, okay? So that means if you see somebody in help, in a situation, you go and assist them. You stop turning a blind eye. You, at worst, can be a witness to anything. If you see somebody being involved with the police, literally go up with your phone. Stay away, that you're not interfering with what the police are doing. You have every right to record everything and do all of that. Why? Because we're all equal under the law. We all have an obligation to uphold the peace, and we all have a right to enforce the peace. We are all equal. Citizens' arrest, sound familiar to anybody? Yeah. Okay, what that is saying, it's affirming we all are police. Okay, we all have the same rights under the law, but just so happens that some are paid by the public purse to do it full time. We only part time.
So going back to what you were saying about how, like, say this policeman is acting like a child and basically he's acting unlawfully, could you then, if the other 2 ignore you, could you then say, right, I'm going to citizens arrest you?
Correct, you can, and you can use
Reasonable force,
reasonable
because they're
force.
unlawful.
Okay, yeah.
Why haven't key players in government been arrested by the citizens?
Because literally,
Yeah.
what will happen is they still have the control of violence, and we cannot rely yet upon enough of us to support one another. We will reach a critical mass where enough of us get it, okay, and we will start going in and pulling these guys out.
Because that is really what needs to happen, isn't it?
It will happen. It's going to
That's what
happen.
needs to happen.
It will.
Because they will just keep going.
And this is about drawing a line between a bully and us.
So the recent legislation that sort of exonerates police from actually breaking the law.
Remember, all equal under the law, nobody is above the law. There is no such thing as lawful immunity. Legally they can do what they like, but lawfully we must hold them to account.
Okay, so right, okay, so that was kind of slightly worrying because
Of course, because they're trying to get you to believe legislation is law.
right.
As simple as.
So,
It's beliefs.
so it is said that there's about 10 million of us, isn't it?
You don't need 10 million. There's 650 MPs that create enactment. You only need half of those. We only need to control 326. That's it. That's all we need. 326 people that know what they do.
So you should be helping the youth get into positions of parliament?
No, we just need to find mechanisms of holding existing parliamentarians to account.
It's hard because they're so far gone, like they're fucking gone with this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But the law is higher than they are.
Correct. The
The
law is
law is
higher.
higher than they are.
Right, I serve.
Try telling them that.
No, but we need
Okay.
to hold them to account.
We need a hope, exactly. Right. Why did they not vote the renewal of the Coronavirus Act?
Because they
Yeah.
knew we'd reject it.
Hmm?
Yeah, why didn't they?
Why didn't they? Because I put them on notice and said the only thing they can do is vote no.
Right.
Because unless they can prove it, if they vote anything but no, they then become personally liable.
Right. So
That's why they didn't vote.
Are they all been served?
Yeah, and you know, I've served all of them. Okay? I did not think of give it to a shout at the House, and if you heard the shout at the House, at first was nay, and then the caller asked for a second shout,
And she
for
started
yeas.
fucking laughing.
And who the hell do I know vote, shouted yea or nay? It was the only thing that we didn't do. But we've got a group where we're serving MPs. Teresa's coordinating that. And anybody that wants to serve MPs, we need to try and get, literally we need 326 MPs that we control. We give them notice. When any of this nonsense comes up, we just give them notice. Tell them this is the way you have to vote. That's how direct democracy works. Yeah? That's the power of the
So
self.
why hasn't that been
Truth is sovereign.
Why isn't that being done with the...
No, it's starting to happen. And we're putting side jumping on notice this week. Okay, but basically... Right. What I want to do now, on the... Okay, hang on, hold on. Okay, hang on. We're diverting too much, right? Well, I'm getting diverted too much. Okay, so first thing is introductions. Once we've done introductions, okay, you have the choice always as to whether you wish to continue any interaction or not. It's always your choice. You consent to that continuation. So if they don't give the name, you can literally, after the second time, go and say, bye-bye, I'm out of here.
But Mark, sorry,
Yeah.
but that's not the case if they are making a claim against you. They have to be happy to let you go. There is something with the police that they...
Okay, basically, they make their claim if they cannot show lawful excuse, okay, so if you cannot, if they can't show you the evidence at the time that whatever they're asking you to do, that's it, you don't have to comply with anything.
But they can hold you to till they are happy that they don't have a claim, right? There's something
Yeah.
there.
literally the way it is, I come, make a claim, okay, in accordance with coronavirus legislation, blah, 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 or in accordance with traffic act, or in accordance with this, or in accordance with that. That there is laying a claim. First thing you need to do is rebut that claim. If you don't rebut it, you're in dishonour, and therefore they can continue the interaction.
How do you rebuttal it? By saying, prove it.
Prove your claim, yeah. Okay. But the patterns was the same. It's the pattern I'm trying to get through. So if you don't ask them to rebut their claim, they will come back again. We'll give you a second chance. They'll come back again and give you a third chance. Then default judgment is they get their way. Okay, because you've acted in dishonour and you are breaching their peace, and therefore society says, if you act in dishonour and breach somebody's peace, give them the chance to correct it, you are in dishonour and that's it.
Sorry, can you remind us what you mean by rebut?
Rebut, okay, literally you do what's called a point-by-point rebuttal. So if you look at the papers that are handed out, okay, it's got, for instance, on, okay, the first page, literally you've got number 1, A, B, C, D. Yeah? Okay? So there's a number of points on the paper.
Can I just ask, it strikes me if you're really messing about, you just make so many points they couldn't possibly rebut them.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, the important thing is, if you make so many points, you are more accurate in your communication and your claim, and therefore you're getting a better answer, okay, as opposed to saying, oh, I don't understand what you're saying.
Part of it is also you're actually educating the police, aren't
Oh,
you,
totally,
in what you're saying?
totally, yeah. Okay, so point by point, so literally each point is a statement, and you need to provide evidence to support that statement because a statement equals a claim. All right? So a rebuttal is, no, you are wrong because X, Y, Z.
Or you can ask them to...
Or you can ask them to provide you with further evidence, because from what they've said and shown you so far, that there hasn't convinced you, and you don't believe it will convince a reasonable person or a jury. Okay? I'm going to have to...
So protesters, you said have been hauled in the back of the stands.
Yeah.
If you're in a back of a van and you get into a cell, you just give your first name.
We'll be going through that.
Right.
I think we might have
Do
to
they want
just...
you for a certain
I
amount of
think what I'm
time?
going to have to do is actually just, rather than role play, because there's, I think, too many of us to do it effectively. What we'll do is just go through the rest of the list, one at a time. So if we can just maybe close those two, or turn this line, because I've got 10 minutes to get through. Okay, the pattern is okay, so hang on, can we just be quiet for a bit? Sorry. The pattern's the same. Threes, everything always is in threes. Every single thing we do is in threes. So the first thing is, we've said about introductions, we've seen how we can escalate it from polite to more and more serious. We can do this, we've talked through with the oath, affirmation and attestation how we can escalate it and even turn the police one against the other, divide and conquer, that's what they do to us. But basically, you need to always be able to show lawful excuse to breach somebody's peace. Okay? So whenever I approach somebody, then I need to ensure that I have the evidence at the time to continue that interaction. If I haven't got the evidence at the time, then end of interaction, no interaction. So when police, and they use this against you the whole time, they actually don't have evidence against you, and they'll use techniques to get you to incriminate yourself and bring charges. Most people that are arrested are not charged with what they were arrested for, but something they said whilst they were being questioned and stuff like that. So we'll look at how to get out of things like that.
So can I just ask a
Yeah.
question whilst I remember? So the fact that the MPs didn't vote for the Coronavirus
Yeah.
Act, an extension of
Yeah.
it, you told them they couldn't,
Yeah.
does that mean, what does that mean? Does it mean it's...
They have an alternative procedure to voting, which
Right.
I did not include. I asked the wrong questions, therefore I got the wrong answer. My fault. Anyway.
What was that alternative? What, just
The alternative is literally in agreement, yay. Shout out, yay.
Yay!
All the nays?
Yay!
Okay, the nays have it, or the yays have it. That's how they do it.
And is that what she did?
That's what
And
she
she
did.
started laughing? When
She
said
laughed and
yes.
said, even though you got the wrong answer, they did say nay first. I'm giving them another chance and up yours. That's what they say. That's how blatant they are.
That's why she was laughing.
That's why she was laughing. She was taking the piss at me. I don't care. Get them next time. And no, but the thing is, we are serving. We've already got about 12 people serving their MPs. Okay, I've just served the whole lot because that's just the way that I do things. No, but we need people to individually. So if you guys, any of you want to serve your MPs, you need to get hold of Teresa so that we can start to actually make campaigns. We want to start to serve commissioners of police. We want to start to serve chief constables.
Is it happening on paper, not email?
I'll get you this all later.
I was told it could be done verbally.
Sorry?
I thought you could put police on notice verbally.
Yeah, you can do what you like so long as you can evidence it. If you can't evidence it, it's worth nothing.
Well, you need 2 witnesses to evidence it.
Basically, yeah. Okay, so breaches of the peace, okay, means show me the evidence of harm having been caused or the evidence that I intend to cause harm. That's all the police can do. Other than that, there are policy enforcers.
The intent one must be a bit wobbly, isn't it?
Sorry?
The intent business must be a bit wobbly.
It's a dangerous road.
Yeah.
I certainly don't recommend anybody here gets involved with intent. Forget it. It's just not worth it. So again, am I free to go is an important question because the police abuse it. As soon as you are not free to go, that is when you are being detained. Okay? It's not when you arrive at the police station, it's when you are not free to go. So again, we end the questions with that. Am I free to go? So basically, when we are interacting, so this is I think on the second page with the breach of peace, we asked them very clearly, who made the claim? Okay? So what we're doing is moving them out of their policy area because there is no claimant in the speeding ticket. Things like that. So we're starting to make them uncomfortable. And please show me the harm or state what led you to the belief I intended to harm them or their property. So we're asking specific questions. If they fail to identify that, then we're starting to go into common law precedent. Basically, breach of peace is really simple, summed up in R versus Howe, 1982. That's all you need to remember. R versus Howe, 1982, which says, show that I've harmed somebody, show that I intend to harm somebody or their property. If you can't do that, you've got no reason to breach my peace. Show me the evidence now. Okay? So that's one of the things that you need to know. R versus Howe.
R versus
R. R is the Queen, Regina.
Alright.
Okay, it's one of us, the people, okay, against the state. And if they fail to show it twice, all right? Now, 3 is the magic number. If I've asked you once, I've asked you twice, if you would choose to continue behaving like this, you now are harassing me. Okay? So harassment is the first one that we start walloping them. Once we've done it 3 times, then we start to hit them with equality and discrimination and loads of other stuff. Okay, but the first threat is harassment.
Are you warning them? Are you warning them before the third question?
Correct. So what we're doing is when we're escalating it, okay, twice you failed to identify the victim, blah, blah, blah. So you breach of the common law precedents. I'm innocent until proven guilty. You as claimant must prove the case. Guilt is determined in the courts. Am I free to leave now? So the sorry. Okay. Should you continue with your actions, that additionally is harassment. So not only are you breaching my peace, but if you continue, you're also harassing me. And literally, we can just step up, really get these guys a load of stuff. So I'm just going to zoom through this stuff. Powers to search, basically lawful excuse. They do not follow lawful excuse. Lawful excuse means I have the evidence now to show you. What they do is they say, oh, your phone's stolen, mate. We're taking your phone. All right? Okay? And why are you taking my phone? Every time there's a new interaction, okay, they must give lawful excuse. Their bullshit excuse is, oh, a quarter of the phones are stolen in England. Sorry, mate. What makes you believe my phone is stolen? Okay? I'm not interested in other people's phones. You want to take my phone, show me the evidence now that led you to that belief my phone is stolen. If you can't, you have no lawful excuse and you are stealing my phone and I will flip and roll.
Sometimes on these auditing things that are on YouTube, they'll use like the Terrorism Act.
I don't give a hoot about Terrorism Act. Show me the evidence now.
Or I can smell weed, you know.
Oh, you can smell weed, man. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, that's what they usually
It's up to me to choose what I put into my body. It's got nothing to do with you. And even if you think that it's a really stupid decision about what I put into my body, I suggest you go and read Montgomery versus Lanarkshire, because up yours. Literally, this is how simple this becomes. Okay, we're giving them the common law precedents, which is very equitable from the Supreme Court.
You're asking them an open question every time. Inviting them to give evidence, and if you don't give evidence, you continue with another open question, and you just keep open questions.
And you keep on escalating it, and you're telling them every time, look, I know a little bit, I might not know everything, but I've mentioned harassment, I've mentioned breaches of peace, I've mentioned these things, and they will back off. They really do back off.
Montgomery versus
Lanarkshire.
Lanarkshire.
Scottish Lanarkshire Health Board. Funny enough, that's what we're using in Curran's case with NHS Lothian against them, because they're predecessors.
What year is that? Is there a year?
2015. It's all in there. Okay. But you're absolutely right. They'll say drugs is one reason that we can search you. Blades bigger than 4 inches or 6 inches, whatever it is, i.e. concealed weapons. But the question always is, what led you to the belief? Okay? Yeah, maybe there is, and I might have a knife, but show me the evidence that led you to the belief. If you can't do that, you have no right to interfere in my life.
What if they can? Like, because I've noticed you doing this and that.
Then you need to evaluate the evidence they've given you, and the test is, if a jury heard this, would they agree with the police or would they agree with me? So Sue Ledbury down in Devon, she was driving more than 5 miles in the coronavirus lockdown thing. What led the policeman to the belief to do the computer check to see how far she was from home?
Really? You can get away with that?
Well, that's one of the arguments we're using in the appeal. But?
Well, they might say they
because
checked the number plate and he was registered.
Well, thank you very much, because now you've admitted that you've been stalking. That's illegal. Serious. Yes. Serious. This is serious. Electronic surveillance is stalking.
Even by a police officer?
Even by a police officer. Correct, because they're breaching your peace. They need lawful excuse.
What do they say?
Because
intelligence. They've received intelligence.
Well, show us the intelligence, because according to Commissioner of Police versus Rising, which we just had a look at here, again in 2008, it was established that you must have the evidence yourself, okay, and have evaluated and applied your mind to that evidence. If you can't, sorry mate, I'm guilty. Okay, so I just want to run through the key aspects of these things. Okay, power to arrest, all right? Basically, it's really, really simple. Where's guilt determined? Cause. Okay? So what do you need to arrest me for? Here's my name, here's my address, serve me the papers. in the courts they decide if I'm guilty or not. All of a sudden you've removed their power to arrest you. It doesn't mean they won't until we have nuclear bombs. They've got to not be on violence. But we're trying to build a record. We're trying to build a record that we can sue them. Because when we start heading them in the pockets, that's when things are going to change. When we can start to get one or two of them locked up or kicked out of their house, that's when they start gossiping and material. Ooh, we better be careful. Okay, so power to arrest simply...
And then they'll start abiding by the law. And the law is good. The law wants justice, the law wants peace.
Correct.
So we need to make them do what they want to do, actually, themselves.
Most of them join the police force to be good cops. Most people join the NHS to be good nurses. Okay? It's the minority that's the problem. And that's the extremists. Right, really need to get moving now. So the point is, in advance, you must show lawful excuse. You cannot collect it afterwards. And guess what they do is when they arrest you, okay, when they arrest you, they say, oh, but we've got to detain you so that we can interview you, okay? Sorry, have you just admitted that you haven't got enough evidence to actually arrest me? We need to secure evidence is another one that they use. Thank you for admitting you have not got evidence to arrest me. Okay, each of these things. But legally, they follow that. But lawfully is where we hold them to account. Okay? So simply, to avoid arrest, to remove their lawful authority of arrest, simply give them your name and address, and they'll say, oh, but we need to detain you anyway to verify it. So try and keep some verification on you, because if they don't, then you can sue them for kidnap and other stuff as well. Okay? So we can really simply protect ourselves in many ways. When they do arrest you, they'll say, they'll want to use force. Why? They want to try and handcuff you like this and blah, 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 and make you feel uncomfortable and all this sort of nonsense. All right? What is that about? It's about threats, intimidation, fear, humiliation. All right? Quite simply, you stand back and say, I'll comply with your request. You now have no lawful excuse to even lay a finger on me. Okay, what we're doing is, again, with the wording which is down there, we are telling them that we know what we're talking about. And we are making it clear we will hold you to account.
So if you then started trying to grab me physically and say, okay, well, you know, I'm just
that's battery, sorry, mate.
If I resisted, at the end of the day, if they wanted to, 4 of them can jump on you and bend you up. You know, some people don't want to go through that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's why you do.
Because I would challenge a police officer if he tried to do that to me, and if he tried to arrest me, the last thing I want to do is let him control me physically.
Yeah, no, but what you're doing is you lawfully depowering him. Okay, I'll comply with your command. Okay, and now you have no lawful excuse to lay a finger on me. So what you're saying is, if any of you do jump on me...
So again, if he does lay a finger on you, that's unlawful, and then you can arrest him.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, you can arrest...
So switch the power around.
You can arrest at any time, but remember, you need enough violence to be able to see that through. Until you've got enough violence, don't even waste your time going down there. Because there'll be 6 of them on you, or 8, or 10, or 12. Don't even waste your time on it. Just set them up and try and create the record that you can get them in a different way. Okay? Because physically, no way can we win this battle. We need to go through the heart.
Unless there was millions of people all standing there.
Yeah, of course. And this is what I mean. Okay, we need the balance of power in that. But...
Yeah, but unless we're going through the heart, we'll just have another form of tyranny.
And
sorry?
Unless we go through the heart, we'll just have another form of tyranny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that, I agree. But there is, you know, you can still be physical and represent your heart, can't you?
No, absolutely. We need to stand firm.
Yeah.
I agree.
I didn't mention anything.
We have to do it peacefully, because peacefully they can't handle. They cannot handle.
I'm just saying, if there was 10 of us and 10 police officers and they tried to arrest one of us, I'll be willing to stand there and be like, okay, well, we're going to prevent you doing that because we think it's unlawful. Yeah, I suppose in your call. And that, for me, that's peaceful still.
Yeah,
and
so long as you stay on the side of peace. Yeah. No, I agree, there's many ways that we can do it, okay. Right, the phone, okay, the phones, they really try and use that against you. They will take your phones, they'll go through there, all sorts